go. Yee-hoo! Excellent. Good bunch of jigs there. So, lads, it's good to be here. In case some people are watching the Ceilidh here and saying, "Who's that guy talking right now?" Not your usual host. I'm Rodney's first cousin, Glenn. I play often with Rodney, mind you, but I'm happy to be here tonight. I'm here in North Grant, not far outside of Antigonish, with an Antigonish area crew here. We'll start talking about their background later on, but this group together is known as the Ceilidh Men, and they're quite active with the music all around Cape Breton and around here these days. So we're really happy to have them on board tonight. And the Ceilidh Men are composed here of, on fiddle, we have Colin Rankin, and we also have Derek LeBlanc, and we have Jim Cameron. So great set of jigs there, and we'll maybe start talking about some of the tunes individually and all that, and you as individuals later on. But what I'm interested in first is maybe if you give the audience a bit of a background on how you guys came together. I guess it was 2012 that you came together?
Yeah, probably, yeah. So I moved back here to Antigonish County about 2011, and through some mutual friends, we started playing much like BC right here in kitchens and different parties, and we had at one time called ourselves the kitchen party gang, actually. So it all started in the kitchens, and here we are.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we had some good friends, Neil McDougall, who still comes and sings with us every once in a while.
Nice.
And we enjoy that every time Neil comes out. And we had some other friends that played along with us, that some of whom are no longer with us. But we started really playing out a fair amount here in the last two and a half years, probably. Yeah. So we've been busy. Yeah, as busy as we want to be. That's for sure. You know, it's been a lot of fun. Get a lot of repeat visits to some places. So it's been
For
it's
sure,
been a really good time.
I've been seeing that. You've been going to those nice get-togethers in Craignerstown.
They got a great thing going there. They've got a wonderful thing going there, I'll tell you. We talk about that everywhere we go. I'm telling you, yeah.
Yeah, they know how to have their fun in Craignish for sure.
Live music every Friday night?
Yeah.
How can you beat that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All right, boys. Why don't you give us another go?
Sure on. Sure.
Jimmy and his spouse, Arlene, his wife, who unfortunately recently passed away. So we're going to play a tune for them.
Is it a tune that you made yourself?
No, it'll be a tune that is my uncle's favourite. Now, Uncle Jimmy bought me my first bow to start learning how to play the fiddle with. He said, "I'm only going to do it if you learn to play the Space Available March." So we're going to do that for them, and God bless you, Arlene, and we'll play this tune for them.
there. We had Space Available by Marcel Doucet, right?
Yes.
And I think what was the Strathspey? Duke of Gordon's birthday?
Duke of Gordon's birthday.
And
Heather on the Hill.
Heather on the Hill, Dan Air McDonald tune.
Where did we go?
Where did we go from there? The Willow Tree.
The Willow Tree, that's right. Yeah, yeah. And one of Howie's, that first album that he made. Yeah.
Yeah. So
The final one was the Shetland tune, I think. Spoon is Scary.
Yeah, Spoon is Scary. That's it.
Yeah, good combination of local and non-local tunes.
Yeah, I like to mix it up.
Uh-huh. So, I was wondering now, I think I'll start with Colin, and then I'll kind of go around the room here, but I'll start with you, Colin. You and I go way back when it comes to music, eh? We seem to have a lot of the same interests, I think, and influences. And a lot of that can even be traced back into this Antigonish area too, when we went to St. X together. So I'll just lead into that, and maybe you can just tell me what got you into the music and talk about your influences.
I didn't really get into the music until I was in my teens. Not a big fan of it growing up. Into more contemporary sounds, I will say. But my granduncle was a fiddler from Harbour, and Jindan McLean, and I used to hear him as a child. At my grandparents' house. He was very shy. He'd play in the bedroom, because he didn't want to play out in front of people very much. But I'd say that was an very early influence.
Yeah.
But I couldn't, subliminal influence, we'll call it. And then after that, once I got into my teens, I'd say I picked up a tape one day for the music because I ran out of other music and I threw it in, and it happened to be Dougie MacDonald. So that would be the first tape I would actually hear. Escape Writing Times, I believe is what it was called.
Yeah, that was a good old classic recording.
It was a corker, and I got hooked from there, surprisingly enough. And there was an old fiddle hanging on a wall that belonged to my granduncle's uncle, who it was in disrepair, and I was picked at other instruments prior, but nothing ever stuck. But I wanted to try this and see how it went, and my grandparents and my relatives were encouraging, and so I reached out to local musician John McDougall.
Yes.
Because my grandmother mentioned he repaired instruments, so that was my first meeting with John, who is very well known in the Cape Breton circle of musicians and composers, and instructors, teachers. So we crossed paths that way. He repaired the instrument, and he brought it to my house one day and said, can you play anything? And at that point I was picking tunes out on a fiddle my uncle had of my grandfather's, and I could play a couple things, but nothing solid. And he taught me how to read. He sat there at the kitchen table with the fiddle in his hand and showed me how to read notes.
Yes.
And they said, you should take lessons. So I did. And I went to John's for maybe 2 or 3 summers.
Sure.
And I got some note reading down, and then it was around that same time I went to university and met, like minds like yourself and cousin Rodney and Mary Elizabeth McMaster McGuinness, yes. And there was a bunch of troublemakers sitting around that time, Ken McGillivray, and many wonderful musical friends, and I picked up a lot of tunes from there. So Mabou style is the one I prefer, just because it's where my family's originally from.
Sure, yeah.
So I tend to gravitate towards that where I can, and then Buddy McMaster was a huge influence for me growing up at the dances, as he was for you, and your Uncle Kennan, and Willie Kennedy.
Yeah.
Love Willie Kennedy's music. Fiddler from Camelot.
Rich ornamentation in his music for sure.
Oh yeah, and considering he did not read at all, and the fact that he was so accurate, and it was a great sound he used to pull. Yeah, that's kind of where mine was, and I tried other instruments. This is the one I stuck with, and I guess I stuck with it enough. I'm here sitting in front of you.
For sure. Well, we're glad that you kept that. And Jim, we're talking about those pub gatherings too, and that's where I kind of got to know you and see you around at some of these pubs that they'll be having in Antigonish and whatnot. So I know that you're not only interested in Cape Breton style music, but a variety of musics too. So maybe you could let us know what your influences were and how you became attracted to this music and other types of music too.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'm from the West Coast, from Vancouver initially, and many moons ago we moved to Prince Edward Island, my wife and I. And I had heard traditional music on the West Coast for sure. It was mostly bluegrass and also folk music. When I got to PEI, we lived on the eastern end of PEI, so we heard CGFX, and we also heard that there was a festival at Rollo Bay. And so we went there, and the Cape Breton fiddlers were there, and I had heard Buddy McMaster, and I really liked his fiddle playing. So that's where we started to get lured into the Cape Breton style of music. And so then we moved here in 1990, and we had a family, and our kids were growing up and taking an interest in music. And I got to know Jackie Dunn, I'm not sure how, but I really liked her fiddle playing and her piano playing, so I took a few lessons from her, probably for a winter or so. And so she was an influence and was good on teaching me some of the basics of the Cape Breton accompaniment style. And so, but I also like Irish music too. So there was the townhouse here in Antigonish that had an Irish session for a while, so I was part of that, and mostly played mandolin, but some fiddle there.
Excellent.
So Irish and Cape Breton, and there's a lot of Irish jigs in the Cape Breton repertoire.
Oh,
so,
for sure.
So the crossover was tight in some regards.
Yeah. And a little bit of jazz interest there too, Jim?
Not too much jazz, but I've interested in boogie and a variety of different styles, country and some of the pop music, and some of the older rock and roll.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Colin's mentioned that too. Contemporary pop rock music was always a part of our upbringing too. Probably influenced us even in the way that we play sometimes too. And Derek, moving to you too, just maybe you could tell us about. I imagine that not only was traditional music a part of your life, but contemporary pop music too.
Yeah, very much. So I grew up in St. Peter's in Cape Breton. Grew up with Dwayne Cody, very accomplished fiddle player, and he and his father Gordon and his brothers Darren and Roger. I wasn't quite sure when I was growing up whether I wanted to be Roger Stone when I grew up or Keith Richards. But
Monster music.
yeah, exactly. So certainly, it's funny because we often joke, that these things are sort of baked into our DNA almost, and even though I wasn't, really a big consumer of traditional music growing up, CIGO was always on in the background of the house, right? And so it sort of leaks in by osmosis, and then being around some of those contemporaries, and breaking tradition really sort of came about, and all of a sudden that was kind of cool, and
yeah, for sure.
Seeing people we know, on the stage and whatnot, and then career took me, away from Cape Breton for a while, but I got to know and got to play with a bunch of musicians in and around Halifax and Timberley, some neighbors of mine. We used to get together quite regularly, and of course you get introduced to all sorts of different kinds of styles of music there. But it wasn't until I came home that we really started. I started digging into the traditional stuff a little bit more. We always joke when we're on the stage, especially talking about Irish music, and we growing up in rural Nova Scotia, you had two channels, CBC and CBC, right? So if you didn't see the Irish Rovers on CBC at least 4 nights a week, you started to worry about their health, right?
Yes.
So talking about getting those things baked in, we a lot of the traditional songs we end up doing their versions because they immediately jump to your mind and jump to your hands.
Yeah.
And so it's been a lot of fun.
Be a lot of nostalgia there too. Some of the crowds that would be hearing you play some of these tunes, I imagine.
Yeah, it's marvelous to look out and see that many people singing along to these songs. It's a marvelous feeling.
That's great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's what else do you have for us?
You got one?
Yeah, you want to sing?
We're on the singing note.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Well, let's do. I gotta find my kit book. Let's do an Alistair McGillivray song that was made most popular, of course, by one of those voices that leaked into our consciousness on a regular basis.
Yeah.
John Allen.
Yes.
Indeed. Yeah, indeed. What's up, boys?
Yeah.
2, 3, 4. Well, I've been wheels and I've been rails. I've been grassy roads and dusty wagon trails. But I miss the friends who linger in the streets of my hometown. If you love me, you'll believe me. Tie me down. Tie me down. Oh, tie me down. You know I never meant to play around. If you love me, you'll believe me, and I'll go with you now. But we got to get together. Tie me down. Well, I've known some, yes, more than one. And there've been some things I wished I'd never done. Once they branded me a devil, went along to be a clown. If you love me, you'll believe me. Tie me down. Tie me down. Oh, tie me down. You know I never meant to play around. If you love me, you'll believe me, and I'll go with you now. But we got to get together. Tie me down. Swore we'd change no more. There'd be nothing that our hearts would be good for. Give this some consideration before you turn around. If you love me, you'll believe me. Tie me down. Tie me down. Oh, tie me down. You know I never meant to play around. If you love me, you'll believe me, and I'll go with you now. Got to get together, tie me down. Tie me down, oh tie me down. You know I never meant to play around. If you love me, you'll believe me, and I'll go with you now. But we got to get together, tie me down. Yes, we got to get together, tie me down. Thank you very much.
Great tunes. So as you were playing there, I was saying to myself, this sounds nice and tight. Obviously, you guys have been playing together quite a bit.
Yeah, we've been busy.
And besides just playing your regular gigs, I know you would have rehearsed and decided how you're going to play certain songs, how you're going to approach them. And you mentioned how some of them, like the Irish Rovers there, you mentioned how sometimes you just take something and just play it as you hear it, right? But I'm sure, I know from my own personal experience, you have kind of a creative process in the way that you come about presenting something. By the time you sit down and play it in front of somebody, or after you practice it for a while, you think of what am I going to do with this tune, this music. So
You brought that up.
Yeah. So just I'd like to kind of hear about the creative process, maybe as a group here first. And
I'll be my guest.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's funny because we were doing that before you arrived here.
Yes, yeah.
Still working out stuff. You know, and it's a constant evolution. I think, you know, for the most part. And a lot of it happens here.
Yeah. And everything's a work in progress.
Yeah, yeah.
Although you get something that you like, but
Sure.
you tweak it.
Yeah. And sometimes you just hear something in a tune and you're listening, going, "Oh, I never quite heard that before." You know, now with you know, the ease of accessing various artists, you know, you get to hear some of their versions of different songs and different tunes, and sort of brings up different ideas and some new approaches and stuff. So yeah, we're constantly tweaking and moving around with some of those things. But you know, there's some styles and some influences. You know, like Great Big Sea as an example, right? They've really contemporized that sort of trad approach and sort of mixed in fiddle tunes or tagged on tunes to different songs, which was really kind of fun and appeals to me for sure. And so we
Yeah.
try to, you know, sort of bring that to our live performances sometimes.
So I'm hearing some nice harmonies in there too.
Yeah.
Really good. Really
I think
good.
they are.
Yeah,
It's
it's
really
it
good.
gives you such a nice full feel to the
The big thing
song.
about it when we started doing this, and as we were just doing it kind of as an excuse to play, and a lot of it was during COVID, which we can all remember quite unpleasantly. And it was just starting to come out of that, and we used to go to one of the local breweries, which is actually right across the road from James.
right.
And
Dangerously close.
Yeah,
that's
dangerously
right.
close.
Yeah, dangerously close, Halfcock Brewery. And anyways, we used to start off when there used to be a few people sitting there. We'd say, "Well," Derek would always start, "Well, welcome to rehearsal, everybody," because a lot of times we work, things will just sometimes fall together just when we're playing, and somebody will ask us for a song we've never done before, and we'll have enough of it to get by, and it'll work into something that works out really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some of their beers are good to sort of bring on the curve and try something. Otherwise, yeah. Thank you for that, guys.
They lubricate the creative juices.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a different animal playing along to songs. That's how I feel about it personally, right? As opposed to kind of taking the lead on the fiddle tunes. So how do you approach that, Colin?
Well, it's very, very minimalist is what I do, honestly. A lot of it is playing melody, but and teaching myself from playing in front of a group of people, which you would know by leading. Yeah. Playing at the appropriate times and falling in where the fiddle melody makes sense. There'll be a lot of numbers where I won't come in right away. I'll wait till a specific moment, or there'll be just a lead specific that I do, or I'll just do background, or I'll just play the melody similar to what I did before on the last song. Just because it makes sense to do so, it helps keep the rhythm together. And then we'll throw there might be a lead piece in there or a break or whatever that either myself or both Jim and myself will cover as well. That's kind of how it's been a learning process.
Yes.
I wouldn't say I'm far from perfect at it for sure. It'll always be a learning process, but I enjoy it. It's a great change to be able to back up great guys like these when I get the chance to.
Yeah,
So it's awesome that somebody else sit in the front, take the driver's seat.
And you compose too, right? So just a quick note on your composing process too, because you've made some nice tunes too.
I do, and as like yourself, a composer yourself of music, it's for me. I don't sit down and try to do it, and just with the way our lives are always busy with family and work and things like that. You'd like to maybe put time into it and see what would happen, but most of the time when tunes are composed, I make tunes. It's something will come to me at the most unexpected time. I'll hear something in my head and it'll make sense, and if I'm lucky, I'm close to the fiddle, so I can sit down. And luckily enough, with our wonderful technology, as Derek indicated before, we don't have to go and run and find a tape, put it in the machine, press record, and hopefully you get it all, so you don't forget it. Now you can just hit your phone and hit voice memo, and you're good to go, and you can get the most of it, and then hopefully get a chance to work it out later. But I've made a few tunes, but they're just more or less there. I don't play them out very much, but they're there. They're there.
Sure.
Yeah, one of them I played at the beginning. There was a jig there in D I played. That was one.
Yes, I was thinking so. What did you call that one? Do you have a name?
Our wedding.
Nice.
And, that was made a while ago, and it was a fun tune that came to me a while ago, and I said, this sounds good. I'll put it on paper and maybe I'll play it someday.
And there you have it. Now it's all over the world.
That's all over the world.
It's all over the world right now. That's great, Colin.
That's good. Thank you.
So, fellas, how about another tune?
We can do
Song or
yeah.
tunes?
We can do tunes, yeah, sure. Do another set of jigs here, I guess. G, low G's. We can do the G's again. We talked about Buddy being an influence. See, the first time I ever played in public anywhere was for Buddy McMaster in Inverness, and he was very encouraging for a young musician, and for all young musicians that were around at that time.
I second that for sure.
Yeah.
He was really generous and helpful.
Yes, very much so, and just super encouraging, and he just to give everybody a break and a chance to get up and shoulder stuff. So all of these sets of tunes I have are what the quote unquote buddy tunes are always mixed in because he was so influential. So these are some buddy tunes, I guess we'll call them, that I played before, so we'll try them out.
For everybody out there in internet land, we are here at Pat and Jim Cameron's house, Jim and Pat's, and happy to be here. So we have the Ceilidh men here with us. We have Jim Cameron, Colin Rankin and Derek LeBlanc. So we're just going to say hello to them again. And some great tunes, buddy stuff, and some good old traditional music there, Colin.
Yeah, some Kennan tunes.
Yeah, for sure. We were talking about the creative process there earlier, and I'm looking over, I see mandolin there, Jim, and piano. You're a multi-instrumentalist.
Aspiring.
Modest.
It's funny you say aspiring like that, Jim. So, you know, you've played music for so long now, but you've kind of taken a bit of a different route than me in a way, where I was playing a lot of music earlier on, but I was still interested in academics and academia, and went through the process of that big long process, as you know. And now I see you went through being an academic, and now you're really getting back into playing music and taking up different instruments and working through that. Do you want to comment on that at all? Or?
Well, we had 5 children, so that took a lot of time.
Yeah.
And that plus the demands of work put things on hold I archived things for a long time. And after I retired in 2015, I had more time, and I had hoped to spend more time playing music. So that's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
And so tried to take some online lessons and work things up so that I could play half decent. Anyway, so that was the objective.
Very modest.
That was the objective. So academics, and when I retired, some people continue with their academic work, but I haven't done very much. I've mostly played music and done some other things.
I'm going to put a plug in for you right now too, Jim. A comment just on your book there. So you put a book out, very informative book about St. Francis Xavier, St. FX University. If you want to mention that to tell the audience about that.
Okay, well that's really when I was finishing up at Queen's University in Kingston, I got a call, and they were looking for somebody to do the history of St. FX.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got a call and agreed to come over to an interview and was hired. So that was about a 4-year project, and that's what brought us here in 1990 to Antigonish.
Yeah.
So the end result was for the people.
Yes.
The history of the university.
Yeah, for sure. So it's great to. We're glad to have you here, sharing all these talents. So Antigonish is a better place for that, for sure, and St. FX. Derek, yourself, do you write some music yourself? Write some songs?
Very little. Yeah. I've taken stabs at it over the years. Funny enough, I'm writing more now that I've been involved with the Ships of 1801 theater company, actually, and so I'm sort of getting my feet wet when it comes to writing, and that's a really fun process because it's it's not extremely serious. It's not something that you're looking for the marketplace, and there are a lot of fun songs a lot of fun themes to write songs about, which is kind of the juice that that sometimes you need to put stuff down on paper. So
do you ever say to yourself, I'm thinking of this idea, it might actually work for that project, or is it kind of the other way where they say, we're doing this project and we'd like you to write a song about this particular thing?
Yeah, it's been a little more the latter than the former, really. I mean, I have lots of ideas about songs that I want to write someday, and I don't know that they'll ever see the light of day. But working with Duncan MacDonald and Kevin Guilfoy, who's a prolific writer, and putting some music to some of his lyrics and stuff, and it's just been a lot of fun. So it may turn into something down the road, but certainly it's been an enjoyable process. And I'd never been involved in theater arts before, so to see that sort of all come about from an early script to a stage play it's remarkable.
Yeah, I can only imagine. And that's been a successful production for many years now around Antigonish, kind of part of the Highland Games too, right? Mm-hmm. And you've been a part of that, and both of you have played a part in the Highland Games.
We've I volunteered for them for quite a few years, but for their entertainment process during the weekend, and we actually played Highland Games a couple of years ago too, which was fun. That was a cool time. Derek and I, and Jim wasn't available at that time. We have to throw a shout out to our good friend Stephen Joe Janae McDonald, who covers us every now and again on the keys. when Jim is
Jim's trotting all
horribly
over the
absent.
world.
Yes.
Canoeing and Hedgemacoochee.
Communing with nature.
Yeah, communing with nature. So that's kind of what happened there. But yeah, we have worked with that, and
Yeah, the Highland Society's been really good to us.
They have
you know,
been, very much so.
Yeah, they've gotten us to play at a bunch of different events
Mm-hmm.
at different times. And, you know, I think it helps that we're playing the genre that their their motto and their direction is pointed towards. So
For sure,
Yeah.
for sure, and it's great to have you guys there donating your time, because volunteering is really important to all these organizations. So we commend you for that. And speaking of donations, these Ceilidhs, these online Ceilidhs, of course, wouldn't be happening if we didn't have the generous support of all of you out there across, as I say, internet land. So if you get a chance, donations are greatly appreciated for the Gaelic College for helping keep this music alive through these Ceilidhs. And not only the music, but we're getting great stories here and great background and great, really good, informative thoughts about the music and how it comes about and where people got their influences. So if you do get a chance, remember to donate if you can. Okay, boys, I'm up for some more music.
Sure. Want to do another song, maybe?
sure.
Speaking of Jim's mandolin prowess, we'll pick up the mandolin. This is a song that I discovered on a Darren McMullen solo album that he put out probably about 12, 15 years ago, maybe, not quite sure. It's a song by a Scottish band, the Old Blind Dogs, who I thought were really old. They're not. The older I get, the younger it is. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I'm sailing away in the morning, sailing away on the tides, and when I return again, lassie, will you be me bride? Will you be me bride, you boys? Will you be me bride? And when I return again, lassie, will you be me bride? Laddie, I will wait for you as long as my life. Laddie, I will wait for you. I'll be a sailor's wife. I'll be a sailor's wife, you boys. I'll be a sailor's wife. Laddie, I will wait for you. I'll be a sailor's wife. Oh, the sun had shone and the wind it blew, and the ship sailed out to sea. She caught the eye of a soldier lad standing on the quay. Standing on the quay, me boy, standing on the quay. She caught the eye of a soldier lad standing on the quay. Up. Oh, the storm raged and the cannon roared, driving was the rain. After 12 months out to sea, he was homeward bound again. Homeward bound again, you boys, homeward bound again. After 12 months out to sea, he was homeward bound again. And there she met him at the docks with a baby in her arms, saying, I'm sorry, my sailor lad, but I fell for a soldier's charms. I fell for a soldier's charms, we boys fell for a soldier's charms. Saying, I'm sorry, my sailor lad, but I fell for a soldier's charms. Well, don't you worry me, bonny lass, with the sailor's bold retort. Don't you worry me, bonny lass, I've a wife in every port. A wife in every port, we boys, a wife in every port. Don't you worry me, bonny lass, I've a wife in every port. A wife in every
spending there too. Good stuff. Good stuff. And good reel. This weather burn.
That's what I learned. That's what I learned. Hence the add-ons, and try and make tied in as local as possible, and people recognize tunes from the area, and we always try and stick a couple in where they're appropriate. Yeah.
And sometimes when they're on.
Sometimes we won't tell you. We won't tell you what they're going to play. And we'll just go.
So now that you guys have been out playing quite a bit, are you feeling that there's a bit of a resurgence or revisiting of this music? Because I know we're kind of talking there about the 1990s, and with the caper and the fiddle, they almost called it like the second golden age of fiddling, right? And there's all that commercial success with the Bears and the Rankins and Ashley and Natalie and all that. And then it kind of took a little bit of a lull, after that. But you seem to be out playing quite a bit these days, right? And I'm just interested in what you think of that, and what you think of the way that the audiences are kind of responding these days to this music.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned all the artists that we play when we play out, right? So there's. The lull may have happened as those artists moved on in their careers and different things happened to those bands and groups and whatnot. But our audiences love that music, and it's a surefire way to get butts out of seats and up on the dance floor. To break out a Rankin tune or it's it resonates with so many people to the point where we're sort of always looking out and seeing people our age or maybe a little bit older at times, but we're booked to play a wedding for a young couple this summer who are living away and want to have their guests and themselves, quite frankly, immersed in that music and that sound. So it's I think it resonates. That music resonates with so many people around here for sure. And we've had people in audiences from all sorts of different places who really, felt compelled to come up afterwards and say how much they enjoy East Coast music, and so
It's happy music.
Oh, absolutely!
It's
so much fun.
Yeah. It is. You can draw out all sorts of emotions, as you know yourself, and it can be a song with kind of a melancholy tone to it, but it's just how it's played. Just sounds, it draws people in, and it creates memories for people, and it brings them back and thought to the things they may have experienced themselves. The big thing I find is that COVID was probably, in a way, musically, for people to go into themselves and go back and look at things that they wouldn't have taken the time to before. I'd say if there was one of the few, if there was any benefits from that period of time, is that people had the opportunity to go back and look at things that they were. I always wanted to go. I didn't have the time before, but now that I'm home, or I have the opportunity, or I can't go anywhere, I can go and actually start digging into this stuff that I was kind of interested in before, or stuff that I used to listen to years ago, and it maybe hopefully that kind of caused a little bit of a bounce back. I know for live performance, especially. Annie Ganesh's area itself, bands have come out of the woodwork that just in the last 3 or 4 years, and it's great to see so many opportunities for local musicians to get out and play, because that was a big concern for that period of time as well.
And just can you speak to about a couple of the local? You've already mentioned a couple. I think we're forgetting a couple too of local venues that are around here that are hosting this kind of music.
Well, Oak Manor, a former men's clothing store in the corner of College and Main. So they have, in conjunction with the Highland Society, have instituted or initiated a monthly Ceilidh on Saturday afternoon. So and we've played there at other times too, but the monthly Ceilidh is quite well attended. I think you attended.
Yes, I managed to make it to one. I'd like to make it 2 more for sure. I enjoyed that. It was really good. It was a good crowd there.
Good open session for any musician who wants to come.
And the brewery down the road here called Half Cocked we've played there quite a bit, and they've had other different types of music, but some traditional. What other venues?
Coldstream.
Yeah, we've been to Coldstream a couple of times. The Schoolhouse Community Hall in Miragamish. They've got some fantastic volunteers there. Really
great things about
they're doing wonderful things for that community, and they do regular pubs. They get a bunch of different acts in, and we've been there a few times. We talked about Crignish. We've been to
the Maples.
yes,
Yeah,
absolutely,
the
yeah.
pub at Maples.
So the Maples
That's a
long
nice
term.
little spot.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's the most beautiful pub I think that I've ever been into, and they have regular entertainment coming in for residents, not only of the facility itself, but the surrounding 55 plus community, and they know how to have a good time.
They're a great crew.
Yeah.
The other good thing too is that, since COVID ended, the Maryville Square dances have come
Yes,
back.
yes,
Yeah.
Mary Lambourne.
Yeah,
and
Mary,
Ben.
we got them back on track, which was
Yeah.
great. It's great that she offered to take them over, and that's great to hear that they're back up and running again.
Yeah, there's one next week, isn't
I think so. It's going to
week
come
from
back
Friday.
on.
Yeah.
Howie's there.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
also Piper's Pub too, once in a
Piper's.
while for fiddle music.
They
but
do,
there's different
yeah.
kinds of
Yeah, they have regular entertainment pretty
Yeah.
much
And-
every week now.
And Candid as well.
Candid.
We
Yes,
play
yes.
Candid as well. Yeah.
Candid has a variety of types of music too, but sometimes traditional.
Yes, and the Legion too.
The Legion.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Alex always got
Yeah.
regular
Yeah.
entertainment there.
Especially around Chase the Ace now.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's
for sure.
jackpot belts. Plug in for those guys.
Exactly, 100%.
Yeah, for sure.
Well,
Yeah, we've been.
We've been lucky. We've been lucky. We've been lucky, and we're very grateful, and I believe we're pretty humble.
Yeah.
We get the attention that we've got so far, and
Yeah. Keep inviting us back.
well,
So,
yeah,
you know, good thing going for sure.
Yeah, we're sure.
and it's great fun.
Yeah.
It's fun for us. As long as everybody's having, as long as they're having fun, we're having fun
Well,
too.
give us some more fun here and give us some more music.
Sure.
Yeah, we're about almost an hour now, so
Oh wow.
yeah.
All right.
So if you want to wrap it up soon?
Yeah, one more
Yeah.
too.
Great.
Sounds good.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
What key are we in this time?
Oh, let's see. I'm gonna risk it, and I'll go B minor,
B
I
minor?
guess. Yeah. It wouldn't be right since the host is who he is. If we didn't play a tune that he composed. Right. So, anyways, we'll give that a go. And play tunes that John McDougall taught me years ago, and tunes that I got from Mr. Graham himself, or through a handout photocopy notebook from the library.
there you go. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Exactly, anything to get the tune.
It should be minor group.
Yes.
Excellent. Are we signing off?
We can sign off whenever we want.
Okay, so everybody, thanks a lot again to Jim Cameron, Colin Rankin, and
Derek
LeBlanc, and the Cayley men. We call them the Cayley men together.
And thanks to Ryan for.
Yes.
No
thank you
problem.
so much, Art.
Thanks for
No problem.
Yeah, and thanks for coming out.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Glad to be here. Thanks for asking.